I'd like to invite one of our good members, amazing person, somebody who's doing big things in the world. Can we invite Jim Clark to the stage? Jim Clark, how are you, man?
I am doing great, David.
Can we put him side by side? Yeah, there you go. All right, Jim, how are you, man? Is that it looks like that over here? Okay, yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
So yeah, I can. Jim, so first off, man, tell everybody where you're from.
I am from Austin, Texas.
Man,
Lived here since about 1979.
1979 in Austin, Texas. Now tell me, how long have you been in the tax industry?
Well, technically, my first tax return was when I was 14.
It's not showing.
So I've
14.
I've been in the doing taxes for a very long time, but officially, I would say I've probably had offices dealing with taxes and planning and things of that nature for about 12, 15 years.
Wow. And so what, like over the last few years, what have you been focused on? Like, let's talk about your journey, man, because I've known you for some time. How did you start in this industry? Like, when did you start actually focusing on growth?
Oh, geez. Let's see. The best description would be a squirrel chasing a nut.
Well, tell us. So you were doing tax prep for a long time. What did you do in the tax prep world? Like, what were you doing? Personal returns, business returns?
We would do personal returns. We would do business returns. Then someone said, "Hey, you need to do insurance," and so we put the old insurance hat on. Then we said, "Oh, well, you need to be helping businesses set up their entities and structuring them right." So we've done that. Then someone said, "Oh, well, you need accounting and you need bookkeeping," and yeah, and the list goes on and on.
So you did all that stuff. How'd that go? Are you still offering some of that, or is that something you're moving away from?
Well, we're selectively offering it. Let's put it that way.
What,
So,
what, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
so whenever we have a client and we end up doing an analysis and we see that their, for example, their insurance or their bookkeeping, their accounting is not up to what it needs to be, then, we have that brutal conversation with them and tell them, basically, this all sucks and you need to get it fixed. And if you don't get it fixed, then this is how much it's going to cost you down the road.
Got it. But moving away from all that, tell us some of the challenges you had offering all those things.
Well, I mean, you've done the same conversation, or you've had the same conversation. One day you have one hat on, one day you have another hat on. Hell, sometimes even in the same day, same, 5-minute conversation with a client, you're having to put multiple hats on and switch gears and switch conversations, and it's not fun. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I could see that. And so today you focus primarily on what are you doing now? What is your role?
Well, we still have the tax offices, and so we have staff that are dealing with that. And I'm here to help them consult basically on some tax issues that they have or need help with. But my main focus is on the tax planning side.
Cool. So you've been doing tax planning or advisory for how long?
Um, Unofficially, probably about 3 years. Officially, about 8 months.
8 months. Okay. In 8 months, what have you done?
Well, we have signed up about 35 clients with assessments and plans. And I want to say, I looked at the numbers. I want to say that we're right about almost 800,000.
800,000. Give this guy a round of applause, by the way. Round of applause, man. Now, Jim, question. Are you a CPA?
No.
Are you an EA?
Well, I've taken the courses and passed the exam, but the IRS has not blessed me yet. So no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you've worked on some designations, but you're not a CPA. You're primarily doing tax prep in the past. You just started advisory 8 months ago. What do you attribute your success to in the last 8 months?
Um, there's this guy down in the valley. I think you might know him,
Yeah.
David.
David, what did I do? How did I help you do that? I'm being real. Be real with me. Like, I mean, I know you're always real, but like, what did we do? What did we share with you that changed everything for you?
Well, I've said this before, and I've known you for a few years, 9, 10 years. So, um, and David is the kind of person that, he'll be brutally honest with you if you want it or allow him to. Sometimes he'll be brutally honest with you whenever you don't want it. Um, but he's not kicking your butt just for the heck of it or for the sake of kicking your butt. He really is trying to help you, trying to get you to see the things that, I mean, quite honestly, he's done. He's tried. He's put a lot of hard effort, money into things that have worked well, and there are some things that haven't worked. And so you're really trying to take the pitfalls out of all of this. And so if we can just kind of get out of our own way and follow the steps, then we'll be successful.
Give me one action item you took right away that really changed it all for you.
Well, you know how I am and loving to get on Facebook and posting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't do that. I'll be honest with you. I don't like it. I don't do it. I don't have the face for it. At the end of the day, one of the things that Daniel Toppy had said the other day on one of the trainings was that, okay, if you can't do it or don't want to do it, then you need to have someone else who can do it. And so I've been really fortunate, been very blessed. My son, quite honestly, has some very nice connections with some very uh, wealthy earning doctors and dentists. And so, yeah, it's
So
not,
you leveraged your network, which we taught you in the program, huh?
yes.
And so what's your niche based on, did we help you focus on a niche?
Oh, yeah. So whenever I started, I was kind of like that squirrel with the nut, going to go after everyone and anybody that had money. And you soon figure out that that's too broad. And so when we finally brought it down to dentists and doctors, then it made a heck of a lot easier, more sense. Plus, the other thing is that whenever you're talking to that client, after, one client, two clients, 10 clients, you're pretty much saying the same thing because they have the same issues. And so it makes it a whole lot easier. So whenever you're starting to do the planning, there's only maybe two or three, maybe four things that might separate one from another. One may have kids, one may not, that kind of thing.
Well, that's good. So what you found, just to summarize that, it sounds like you picked the niche, and then because you were in that niche, it's easy to deliver to all of them.
Yeah, it makes it. I won't necessarily say it's easier to deliver, but it's definitely makes our task of performing and actually fulfilling for the clients much easier because I mean, it's kind of like a cookie cutter, so to speak.
Well, that's good, man. Because when we first met, Jim, I remember you were trying to grow your tax practice to 1 billion offices and 1 billion tax returns. And by the way, I was there too. So this is a few years back, and now I guess we've kind of figured it out. I hope. I hope, man.
Yeah.
What would you give somebody advice who's starting out? If they're starting out, what would you tell them to do?
Um. Oh wow. Listen. Listen to what other people that have been down this path. Not everyone, of course, has been successful at it, but people like you, David, that have been successful, listen and do what you say. It's it's kind of like this. If you're a believer in God, we all sit there and go, okay, well, God, I need this, I want this, give me this, bless me. And we don't think about that. We now have a covenant or a contract with God that, okay, he's going to do all this for us. However, we have responsibilities too. We have
Yeah,
things we have to do. We have maintenance that we have to perform. And then all of a sudden, we decide that we don't want to do this or we don't want to do that. And then all of a sudden we're looking around going, what the heck happened? This is not what I signed up for. This is not going the way, David said it was going to go. And so then we turn around and we try to look to see, okay, well, they're not going to blame me because it can't be my fault. It's David's fault. It's David's team's fault. So at the end of the day, it really is simple. I mean, it really is. Get out of our own way. Listen to what Mr. Pettis says. Try to follow the A to Z as best you can, okay, and perform.
Amen. And by the way, I appreciate that, Jim. There's a lot of time has been invested in what we do, and of course, you've been a big contributor in that. In just 8 months, it just goes to show that no matter what your background is, and no matter how many years you've been in this industry, there's always this next shift. And I believe that advisory is the future of this industry, and you're seeing the rewards from that. How? By the way, just last question: how long? And probably still, I don't know that about your tax prep business, but I'm assuming you've made over 7 figures in the tax industry multiple times. But in tax prep, how many clients does it usually take to get $800,000 worth of revenue?
Oh my God. You're talking 12, 1,300 clients if you're lucky.
Maybe more, probably closer to 2,000 for me. I don't charge as much, but that was our lives for so long. And so today 800,000, and you said how many again? Remind us. 800,000 and how many clients?
We have 35.
35 freaking clients, guys. 35 clients versus literally 2,000 probably, man.
Yep.
Jim, and by the way, you're doing it with less people, correct?
Oh yeah. Without a doubt. We have some of our staff that we keep on year round in our tax stores, and we have utilized them to help us with some of the number crunching as far as the analysis on the assessments and all. But for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much me doing this. Now we're going to get to a point to where we're going to have to hire people, and so we're going to be talking to you, talking to Daniel. What's going to be the best approach? Who's the best candidate to end up hiring to be able to be successful? Because let's face it, whenever you start getting a few nickels and dimes in your pocket, you want more.
That's right. Well, 800 is a lot of nickels and dimes. Any last words for our guest here?
Like I said, I mean, it sounds very simple, and it is, but it's also very difficult because let's face it, most of us have been in business for a while. We've been around the block a little bit, so we kind of think we know a lot, and we do. Don't get me wrong. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? There are people like you that, we just need to figure out how to do what you say. And then just keep repeating that over and over again.
Well, I appreciate you, Jim, for joining us today. Thank you from all the way from Austin, Texas. Can we give Jim a round of applause and a success? You got to do that.
Thank you.
Jim, thank you so much. I hope we see you tomorrow in our training, or maybe the rest of the day here, man. Enjoy it.